All right, back on Personal Pension Radio and on the vlog, the YouTube channel, recording the vlog at the same time as I'm doing the actual podcast recording that would normally just simply go up to iTunes, out to iHeartRadio, SoundCloud, Stitcher, etc., wherever you're listening to this podcast. Thank you for your support. Really appreciate it. I talked to a client recently who had shared the podcast with his brother, and then his brother's actually getting in touch with me and asking questions. I really do appreciate that. I love how small the world is nowadays. The world is very small thanks to technology. I am broadcasting, as you can see, once again from the Personal Pension Radio Workshop here in Southern California. Yes, this is my wood shop. Those of you listen to the show, you know that aside from being a car guy, I am also a woodworker. I'm currently building my kitchen. I am finishing a skateboard project for a friend, and soon to start a comic book storage unit for someone that I work with. So never done that before either. Love that stuff. You heard the intro. I am the income engineer, and my mission is to deliver that retirement dream that Wall Street has promised for 40 years. Unfortunately, Wall Street only teaches one side of the retirement planning journey. They teach the accumulation side, the save, 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 invest, invest, invest. The idea that the answer to everything is invest more money. That is a critical part of retirement. Absolutely. What I teach is both sides of the retirement journey. The idea that you have the accumulation phase, you get to the top of the mountain, and then you have the decumulation phase, the downside, the downhill version, if you will, with the analogy. You've got to come back down the mountain. So my goal is to not teach everything there is about retirement income planning. I actually got a comment in my feedback once. Well, this guy doesn't teach anything. Well, I do share concepts and strategies and thoughts on various different retirement planning concepts. But the real key here is to ask questions, to challenge things, to just challenge the norm. Say, why is it supposed to be done that way? Who said that's the right way for this to be done? That's what I'd like you to get out of this podcast sometimes. Yes, today, for example, I might share some real actionable, important items as it relates to retirement planning or protection planning. But more importantly, to get the idea that not everything is invest more money, invest, invest, invest. That's the key. That Wall Street wants to tell you that if you lost your dog, it's because you didn't invest more money. If you want to retire early, you have to, of course, invest more money. If you want to send your kids to college, you have to invest more money. That's the answer every single time. And I push back on that. I disagree. That is not always the answer. It is a critical component of most of those things, but it is not the answer to everything. So I'm going to jump right in, actually. I want to give a shout out, say hello to Greg, listener Greg out there in North Carolina. You inspired, actually, the video vlog portion of this podcast episode. I've always wanted to, I won't say always, I've wanted to change things up as far as the podcast and do more unique or different things with the podcast. So a vlog and getting more active on YouTube is something that I've wanted to do. Now, listener Greg, hello again. You actually asked a great question as it relates to indexed universal life. So shout out to you for inspiring me to do a video of this podcast. So later in this episode, I am going to go into my computer and actually teach on indexed universal life. It is a question that comes up all the time. I get emails, I get questions in person, I get questions from CPAs, from attorneys. Actually, just this last Friday, got a question about this indexed universal life thing. And it is important to understand it. I have my opinions. You'll see the way I teach it, perhaps why I have those opinions. So we'll get into that in just a moment. Full disclosure, multiple disclosures, 2 different disclosures in my podcast, because unlike financial entertainers like Dave Ramsey and Susie Orman, I am an actual certified financial planner professional. I'm licensed and regulated, and everything that I do is actually monitored by compliance, and I have to follow the rules. And one of those is to give you a disclosure that says, I'm not an attorney. I'm not a CPA. I do not play one on TV. I am a certified financial planning professional. I play one on YouTube. I play one on the podcast, and I am one in real life. With all of that said, and as cool as my video and my workshop is, please don't act on things that you hear on my show as if you're getting personal advice. You're not. You're not getting personal advice. Please seek out the counsel, hopefully, of a certified financial planner. A certified financial planner, hey, I'm raising my hand. I would love to talk with you. Remember, we can actually get together face to face through the miracles of technology nowadays. We don't actually have to be in the same room. So let's have a meeting. Send me an email, Kraig with a K, at Kraigstrom, STROM.com. So with that said, let's jump in. Now, I already gave my shout out to listener Greg. Thank you so much. Now, the deal of the week has become also a very popular segment. I actually have had folks that I did not realize listened to my podcast recently in my car club that had mentioned my deal of the week. That I was kind of surprised. Like, you listen to my podcast? Yes, I do. So, my deal of the week is this. Was an item that I had actually borrowed. It's called R&D. I firmly believe in R&D. So think about that. What does R&D stand for? It stands for rip off and duplicate. Rip off and duplicate good ideas. So that actually came from a friend of mine in the Chamber of Commerce, and he had said that once, and I said, can I R&D that? And he says, absolutely, I did the same thing. So R&D, rip off and duplicate. I believe if you find a good idea, you should replicate it if you can. And I had listened to Clark Howard, 1,000 years ago, a long time ago, when Clark Howard was only on the radio. He wasn't actually on a podcast or anything like that. He was basically on the radio. He had a TV show for a while, and now he's got a podcast. Well, he had inspired the deal of the week. And if I'm honest with myself, he probably inspired my quest for lifestyle deflation. Lifestyle deflation, this idea that I'm always looking for a way to enjoy life without spending full retail, without spending a ton of money all the time, buy, spend. I'm looking for a way to achieve lifestyle deflation, to actually live less expensive and still live, and to live well. So the deal of the week in my podcast was inspired, I guess, by Clark Howard and my quest for lifestyle deflation. So this week's deal of the week actually has, I hadn't forgotten about it, was it's actually more of a financial planning tip. If you're going to be on this quest for financial independence, if you're looking for the FIRE movement, for example, or if you're just looking for ways to cut expenses. I have a friend who actually came over to my house and just for a quick visit, and they were stopping by, they visited, they saw my kitchen remodel that's in progress, and they also saw in the living room my big screen TV laying down on the coffee table, and it was disassembled. It was all taken apart, and they'd never seen that before. They'd never seen the inside of their own television. And she said, well, what's wrong with your TV? And I said, well, the power went out again, and I'm just trying to repair it. What? She said, what? Why are you repairing it? Why don't you just buy a new one? Well, that's the thing, folks. That's our pre-programmed answer. And congratulations to the marketing machine, the consumerism in the world today, and the marketing machine that says, buy. Get a new phone, get a new TV. You don't want that old car. Get, buy. And I looked at her and said, well, I've actually fixed it once before for, $55. I figured I would try again. Really? She said, you fixed your TV? Yeah, it's actually literally 3 little screws inside the TV. You pop in a new part for $60 or whatever, and it worked for several years. It worked. Now, full disclosure, I did put that new part back into this TV, and unfortunately, it's still dead. It looks like it is actually done this time. It's done. It's dead. But I tried, and I purchased a $55 part that had free returns. So I sent it right on back. Didn't cost me anything really. Just to drop by the post office and stick the return in the mail. It was easy. Now, the whole idea there was, why are you fixing it? Just buy another one. Well, I might do that with my microwave. I don't know how to fix a microwave. A TV actually turned out to be really simple, and I had found the information on the Google machine on how to fix it. So before you get ready to throw out, in this case, for a TV this size nowadays is still five, six, seven, $800 for a television still? How is that possible that TVs still cost this much money? It's crazy to me. They still cost this much. They should actually cost, $100 for a giant TV because the technology hasn't really changed. Now, the TV in my living room is officially dead. So my wife and I, we don't watch that much TV, but we do enjoy watching certain things together. And I just went out on kind of on a break from TV. And then when I get when we get in the mood, I'll start shopping for televisions and looking for a clearance deal or some sort of a bargain. Well, as it would happen, I'm at Sam's Club about 3 weeks ago. This has been a while back. And I'm walking out through the exit door past the check stands, and there's one of those flatbed carts, a flatbed cart with two televisions, open boxes sitting on the flatbed cart. This one was a big flat screen TV. It said open box. That had a sign on it. It's clearly an open box. And $94. $94 for a big smart TV. It is a new smart TV that was an open box. I loaded it back up. I grabbed the tag off of it and went back to the check stands and handed it to the lady, said, "Could you ring that up for me, please?" And then I walked right back out and put it in my truck. $94 for this big flat screen smart television that now we have even in a different room of our house. We're trying something different. So the whole idea there on the deal of the week is to hopefully inspire you, whether it's buying something, a car, a TV, an iPhone, whatever it is, or whether it's actually investing. If you're going to go out and invest in something, be sensitive on how much it costs. What are the fees? What are the lost opportunity costs? Make sure that you ask those questions before you just throw the money at it. Okay? So that's the deal of the week segment. Now, watch your step. This next step. Now, literally, this is going to be the watch your step segment. If you didn't hear last episode 224, great question from a listener about tax debt relief companies. Companies that advertise that they'll get rid of your tax debt with the IRS and you can pay them to do so. Well, I gave you my opinion on that. If you've ever wondered about it, go back and listen to episode 224. Now, this time, literally watch your step. I mean, watch your step. On sidewalks, driveways, inside your house, outside your house, at pool parties at your house. Here's the thing. Whenever you invite someone onto your property, even if you don't invite them, what if they're the postal worker or the Amazon delivery person or the UPS driver, right? You don't necessarily invite them on your property, but they're on your property perhaps once or twice a week, right? Whether it's a business or your home. What if you have a pool party? You invite your kids' friends over for a pool party. What I want you to pay attention to is watch your step and the steps of others when it comes to protecting yourself. Let me just refresh that. Let me pull that back. The majority of the listeners to my show, hello everybody out there, there's some in Australia, we've got some in England, we've got some in the Philippines and Nigeria, all over the world I've got listeners. It's so cool. But the majority of the listeners into this show are in the United States. And the United States is the #1 most litigious country on earth. 95+% of all lawsuits in the world happen in the United States. True story, right? So watch your step. When you're out there actually, you're working in your yard, when you're, tearing up a driveway, when you're working on the front yard and you leave water or slippery grass clippings everywhere on your front porch, and a postal worker walks up to deliver a package, or an Amazon delivery person walks up to deliver a package and slips on your pile of leaves or your wet spot in front of your house because you didn't clean it up because you wanted to run in and watch that new TV that you bought for $1,000, right? You got to go watch football or baseball or whatever the heck's on TV right now. And you left it, you didn't clean up, you didn't put any cones around it or any kind of a blockade to prevent somebody from falling into the hole you dug next to your front door or on the edge of your sidewalk on your lawn or anything like that, and someone falls in that hole or on your front door. Guess who you're going to get sued by? If the postal worker falls down walking up to your front door, you're not going to get sued by the postal worker. You're going to get sued by the United States Postal Service. True story. Happened to a friend of mine. You're going to get sued by UPS Corporate because they're going to come after you for restitution for their employees' work comp claim. Because their employee is going to say, oh, my neck, my back, I fell down at that guy or gal's house. Oh, they had this hole there and I didn't see it when I was delivering their package. Oh, woe is me. They're going to file a claim for work comp, and you know what that company's going to do? They're going to come right after you and your homeowner's insurance, and heaven forbid it's not a severe injury. Another true story. This happened to somebody that I know. Somebody actually had a construction project. Turned out it was probably the city. However, there was a construction company responsible for the project, and they left piping on the sidewalk with no cones or barriers around it. It was sticking up about 4 to 5 inches that was going to be finished off maybe the next day. They left it out, did not properly barricade the area. My friend walking her dog fell down, landed on her forearms, and broke both forearms. Both of them. Compound fractures. Who do you think's getting sued? Oh yes, the city will get sued and the construction company will get sued. And man, I hope that construction company owner actually has their asset protection done by a law firm like mine. Okay, so watch your step. The liabilities we face are not, the lawsuits we see on some John Grisham, novel type movie, or, Tom Cruise in the courtroom, right? All this kind of stuff. It's actually just the simple things. It's your kids having a pool party. True story. Your kid's having a pool party and one of his friends does something super stupid. And instead of jumping in the pool because, oh, I'm going to get wet, they leap to the side of the pool and smash their face into the side of the pool and take out the whole top row of their teeth. Guess who got sued? Yeah, the homeowner. The homeowner, the parents of this birthday kid, get sued for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in reconstructive facial surgery, cosmetic dentistry. It was epic what this kid did in a split second. It was just terrible. But these are good friends of the family, right? These are friends. But what did that family have to do to take care of their son who had massive damage to his face? Yeah, they had to sue their friends. And they won. Guess what? Those friends with the pool party, they got to take out a new mortgage on their house because their insurance was only $300,000 limit. $300,000 limit. That was it. They got sued for a lot more than 300 grand and they lost, which was expected. They lost. In California, you can kind of assume you're going to lose, right? Just that's a better assumption than maybe I'll win. Probably not going to win. So watch your step. Take good care, right? Really make sure that you've got your asset protection, your liability protection. And if you're not sure that you're bulletproof, that you're fully protected, send me an email. Kraig at kraigstrom.com. Kraig, Kraig, at kraigstrom.com. let me review your insurance. I'll review your business insurance. I'll review your homeowners and car insurance. I'll review your life insurance. Make sure that you are actually protected and you're not just fooling yourself. I can help. Now, let's get into a question. This is the listener question, but last time, if you missed it, great question from someone who asked about living trusts and wouldn't it be better or cheaper just to put my kids on my bank accounts and on the title to my house? The answer was, whoa, don't do that. If you've ever had any questions about living trusts and titling your checking account, savings account, things like that with your kids, please go back and listen to episode 224. Now, this time I want to revisit indexed universal life. Indexed universal life, okay? This is a type of life insurance that is cash value. It's a cash value based life insurance product. And the interest that is credited inside the policies, the interest that is credited comes from referencing a stock market index. Please hear that again. Referencing, not putting your money in the stock market. No, no, no. This is a life insurance company. They're actually going to use the S&P 500 as a reference point, okay? A reference point, not to put your money into that as an investment. So indexed universal life is sold as this idea that you get the upside of the market with none of the downside. So far sounds pretty good. That is that initial sales pitch. And I have a significant problem with indexed universal life for several reasons. It's a great sales pitch, and it's not as flexible as some other types of life insurance, and it just doesn't look like the original projections 2 or 3 years later. 2 or 3 years after an indexed universal life policy has been going, it doesn't usually look at all like it did when it was sold to someone. And I'm going to show you why in just a moment. So this is going to be part where I'm going to switch over. I'm recording, of course, on video, and I'm going to splice, put it together, and I'll edit this together. So I'm going to switch over to my computer and actually teach on indexed universal life for a little bit. So I'm going to switch over to my computer and actually teach on indexed universal life for a little bit. Now, thank you again to listener Greg out there that this was something that he had asked about, and I actually missed the recording. So I'm going to make sure that I go ahead and get this thing recorded. Got a nice illustration here. This is an indexed universal life illustration. And I can't really zoom in too much because it'll all get off the screen, but you'll see right here, it's indexed universal life from Allianz. Now, this is not at all going to be any kind of a critique of Allianz Life or anything like that. This is specifically an education piece on what I see that bugs me with indexed universal life that makes it hard for me to sell it, right? Because it's got a great sales pitch, but I just I haven't been able to reconcile what I know about it to then go ahead and sell it. Okay, you'll see what I mean. Let's get into it. So this particular indexed universal life policy was presented on the idea that if you put in this case, let me zoom in a little bit further. If you put in $6,000 per year, $6,000 per year, that the cash accumulation value, right? This, you're going to see the difference here in just a moment. You're going to see the cash value will go up and up and up. And then in retirement, you can draw money back out of this thing. It's going to be great. It's going to be awesome. And you get to draw the money back out on a very tax-favored basis. And, the growth inside the policy you don't have any taxes. You'll hear the sales pitch that it's just the best thing ever. It's better than any kind of investment. It's better than any, stock market investments. This stuff's awesome. So let's just evaluate it. And I'm going to zero in on the one thing that really catches me immediately all the time. It's this idea right here that with indexed universal life, you can actually choose, if I'm the advisor, I can choose a percentage index credit. Remember what this product does. This product says if the market goes up, you participate in the upside. You participate in the up. If the market goes down, you get a 0. That sounds good. You mean it goes, if the market goes up, I actually participate in the upside. But if the market goes down, I don't go down with it? No, that's what the sales pitch is. Now wait, okay? I, as the advisor, I get to choose what index credit, right? Because if the market goes up, and by the way, remember, podcast listeners, there is a YouTube video that goes with this. Just go to YouTube and you just look for Kraig Strom Income Engineer. You'll find me right there. This video will be posted and you can actually follow along with the episode and the visual of the illustration on the screen. So if the market goes up, remember what you're doing is you're not in the market. They use that market as an index credit observation. They're just going to look at it and say the market went up. All right, and here's the number. 6.9%, 6.90%. That's what they say is your indexed amount each year in this illustration. Now, pay close attention to that. In this illustration, what they're saying is that the index credit amount every single year is 6.9%. Because they don't illustrate year by year by year. They take this number and they apply it to this accumulation value. So you put in premium. Premium goes in here. They apply a credit. And that's what that accumulation value is. But wait, pay close attention. The premium goes in. Now, they take out charges, insurance charges, then they apply that rate, and you get an accumulation value. Now, folks, I'm drawing all over this thing because I've got to bring your attention to the details, because the sales pitch doesn't really teach the salesperson, financial advisor like myself, doesn't really teach the financial advisor to focus in on this, to really teach it this way. Because the sales pitch is, just keep an eye on that 6.9%. Just look at the 6.9%. Well, I can't, because there's more to it. So remember, one more time, the premium goes in, the insurance company takes out charges. So $6,000 goes in, and in this example, $2,224 comes out in charges in the first year. And of course, they apply a 6.9% to the overall, and whammo, we have $4,200. Now, there's more. What the heck is this cash value at 0? What is that? Cash value 0, accumulation value is $4,218, but the cash value 0, okay, here's what that is. This is a surrender charge calculation. Now, it's interesting to me that now, with the way that they've written the illustrations, they do not have to put what used to be there. What used to be is this, surrender value. The surrender value is what you get after they charge the surrender penalty for early withdrawal. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not suggesting that surrender penalties are actually a bad thing. They are part of these contracts of guaranteed annuities, of whole life insurance, of indexed universal life, and all of that. They're all part of it, and it does make sense that these things are not free. They cost money, and the insurance companies can't just simply say, hey, we've been on the hook for a $300,000 death benefit, and if you just want to walk away, we won't charge you anything. We've had no risk at all. Well, of course the insurance companies had risk, so they build it into this surrender charge. in the indexed universal life illustrations nowadays, they do not have to actually put the word on the column. They just said they'll separate it out and show you total charges and then this column of cash value. Instead of saying surrender value, that's your value. That's what you actually get if you surrendered and canceled the contract. And while we're on that topic, you'll have to note that it takes a full 13 years before you're out of the surrender period, meaning 13 years to get to break even where your actual value is worth the accumulation value, your surrender value being equal. Okay, so I just have a real issue with the fact that they don't put it that way anymore, and we're looking at cash value is really actually very low. That the sales pitch focuses on this accumulation value column. The accumulation value column, I want to know what the real in my pocket, what is really my portion, my money in this policy, and that is the cash value column. The cash value column is the actual money that currently is on your side of the ledger. All right, now, let's go a little further here. I want to just address again this idea that 6.9% is the way they sell it, right? 6.9% is the way they sell it. Now, let's analyze the actual rate of return. It's called the internal rate of return of this policy with a calculator, a tool that I use because I'm a geek for this stuff. This particular tool is not designed by a life insurance company. It's just a mathematical tool that allows me to analyze investments, and it happens to allow me to analyze life insurance. So I want you to remember this 6.9%, right? So 6.9%, I'm going to switch over my screen here, and I'm going to bring up my calculator. This calculator here, I'm going to make it big so you can see it. And I want you to note that I started this at age 50. We're up in the top left-hand side. On this calculator, we're looking at basically the same numbers that are in the life insurance illustration. The difference, of course, being that I'm now analyzing the real numbers, right? And what I mean by that is take away all the hype, take away the sales pitch, take away the 40-page life insurance illustration, and let's just analyze the math, right? Because they remember, what's that number that they were showing on the illustration? They were showing 6.9% linear rate of return, market participation, indexed market participation, 6.9% every year for 20 years. Now, let's just for the record, that's never happened, ever. We've never had 6.9% linear in the market. Doesn't happen, okay? So right there, that's insanity to even show that. But let's look at the numbers. So you'll notice in this column, here's the $6,000 that is shown on the Allianz, right? And here's that exact same cash value, right? Got it right there. Now, here's the problem. In the lower left-hand corner of my calculator, what is the actual internal rate of return for this policy? Quick drink, getting all excited. The actual rate of return for this policy is 4.95. 4.95. Hold on a second. 4.95 is the actual rate of return. So if we come down here and we say right in there, the actual is 4.95 versus, what was it? 6.9. That is actually a 1.95% difference. What in the world is that? So think about it for a quick second. What do you think that is? Is a 1.95% difference. Where did that 1.95% go? Yeah, fees. Fees, fees, fees. And in California, it's fees on Van Nuys, right? That's a inside car joke, with keys on Van Nuys. Anyway, 6.9% illustrated rate every single year for 20 years. Wait, it comes out at the actual number. The internal rate of return is 1.95% less. Where did that money go? Boom, it went off to fees. Now, again, I am not suggesting that fees are insidious, that investment companies or life insurance or annuities should never charge fees. Of course they charge fees. It's built in. But 1.95%, that's a 2% fee. Let's call it 2%. Now, let's address another thing. What did I just say about 6.9% linear index rate of return? Never happened. Now, you might get some big highs or some higher numbers. You might get zeros. But wait, if you get a zero, does the insurance company magically stop charging you fees? These fees, these total charges, they go up every year forever, whether the market index gives you a rate of return or not. So remember the sales pitch early on. The sales pitch was, if the market goes up, you participate in the upside. If the market goes down, you do not participate in the losses. There's more to that story, though. You do not participate in the market losses. That's true. But what losses do you participate in all the time, every single year? If the market goes down and you get a zero right here in this bracket, if you get a zero, meaning you're not going to get any upside from the market because the market went down, so you never lose money from market participation, the insurance company is still going to take $2,800 in insurance charges out of your cash value. They're still going to hit you with fees. And that number goes up every single year. So there is a term that I teach. It's called reverse dollar cost averaging. In the investment world, it is more appropriate. But in this case, what's happening in a period of time when you did not get any upside bump in your account and the insurance company still takes a bite out of your account value? Well, that's the reverse. That's a reverse averaging type of an experience. You're actually going backwards in that situation. You can actually lose money in a given year if the market actually doesn't go up or goes down. You still get a bite of the apple when it comes to fees. Now, some people will say, well, Kraig, you talk about whole life insurance. Well, whole life insurance has fees and such. Yes, they do. And I'll get into that perhaps on another episode where I'm going to teach on whole life insurance, just to teach the difference. And I'll refresh this, but I'm not going to cover it today. Today is about just making sure that you are armed with some knowledge about indexed universal life. Ask questions, okay? Ask questions. That's what I'm hoping to teach today. But I want you to notice something, that this fee, right? If we go down here, I want you to see, I'm going to just grab all of this and let me just delete that and clean this up a little bit. I want you to see this very clearly. This particular life insurance illustration was sold with the idea that, hey, when you turn 70, you can start taking a whole lot of money out of it, right? You see here $24,000, and notice the premium went away. The premium went to zero, okay? So the premium goes to zero. Hey, and I get to take out 24 grand a year? This thing's amazing. Yeah, you get to take out $24,000 a year only if you got a 6.9% index credit every single year for over 20 years. And you never had a zero year where the insurance company took a bite out of your apple, right? When you got no return. So again, what are the odds of that actually happening? Wow, I think they're astronomical. I think it's amazing that this is even something that's shown and illustrated. Now, what you have to understand, though, is that while we're illustrating this $24,000 withdrawal, what is the insurance company going to continue to do, whether you're paying premium or not? The insurance company is going to continue taking withdrawals. And what I mean by that is they're taking out the cost of insurance. Every single year, your cost of insurance goes up and up and up every year. in this type of a policy. Quick side note, on whole life insurance, dividend-paying mutual whole life insurance, the cost of insurance is fixed at the beginning of the policy. It doesn't go up every year. It's fixed. It's whole life. It is the original life insurance, if you will. It's fixed in the beginning. So it doesn't actually go up every single year. It's actually level, and then it goes from there. I'll show you that in another video. But notice, when you get to this withdrawal scenario, would take out $24,000 and the insurance company takes out $3,107, right? So, hello, that is going to be very difficult to make that work. We're illustrating this life insurance policy like it is some super amazing, incredible, magical financial vehicle, right? And we can do that. And I say I can illustrate this with my team. I am licensed with Allianz. And I'm telling you right now, would I ever sell this? Heck no. I would not be able to buy this myself. I could not sell this to myself. I wouldn't own it. What do you own, Kraig? I own a dividend-paying mutual whole life insurance policy. That's among my life insurance. I own mostly term insurance. I buy term insurance. I have a dividend-paying mutual whole life insurance. That's what I've got. Got one on my daughter, one on my wife, and one on myself, right? Those are not my big protection policies. But would I sell myself an indexed universal life? Not likely, right? If you're ever being pitched on this, what I would encourage you to do is ask the advisor, instead of illustrating 6.9%, try and illustrate something like maybe 5.5% or 5%. Illustrate something a bit more conservative and see how the policy illustration works. Because when you start illustrating these with more conservative numbers, the end result is extremely different, because what did we calculate in the internal rate of return? Quick switch back over. The internal rate of return on the policy was only 4.95. It was off by 2%, basically. 2% that was eaten up in fees. Clearly, that's the only place that they could have gone. That 1.95% didn't just vanish. It went to fees. That's how it worked. Lesson for today. Indexed universal life is not all bad. I have clients in underwriting, life insurance underwriting, for indexed universal life policies that we're using for a very different purpose. And they are designed just like I described here. They're designed on a very conservative basis because in the cases that I'm looking at them for clients, they're more of legacy planning, and we don't really care about index crediting. We don't care about it. But turns out these policies, they can be used for that type of work, okay? But please ask these questions. If you have questions about a life insurance policy or product that's being sold to you, whether it's whole life, indexed universal life, any kind of non-guaranteed life or annuity, please get in touch with me. Kraig with a K at kraigstrom.com. By the way, I only know a little sign language, K-R-A-I-G. I forget the G, and that's a K. So Kraig with a K at kraigstrom.com. And that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Personal Pension Radio, the vlog, and the podcast going out together. Man, cross my fingers this is going to work. I'll talk to you again real soon. Take care.